Hi, I'm Russell Delaney with ESBService.com, and in this video we're going to take this SunSplash 10 ReNew and do some modifications to it. This is also known as the ESB Doorbed. So we're going to take it out into the shop and we're going to take it apart and we're going to do some mods, and here we go. Okay, so we're out in the shop right now and we've had the bed running for a good 10 minutes right now, and we're going to get our initial readings. So I got the amp meter here, and I'm going to check the amperage down here. So I got the line splitter right here and here. Why don't I do it this way? We're pulling just over 5 amps, 5 1/4. Yep, that's what we're getting, 5 1/4 amps right now. And then why don't we get some readings of the output of the lamp? So I'm going to go right here in the middle, and right up to the lamp. We're getting about just about 8. Just a little over 8 here, 8.5, 8.7. Okay, now we're getting through 9, almost 10. Same thing here, almost 10. At least 9.5. We're getting towards the center of the lamp, and yep, here's now we reached 10. Here's, wow, it jumped up to 12, 13 here. This is in the center. This is the very center 2 lamps that we're getting, roughly 13. And back to 10. High 9s, yep. Yeah, roughly 10. Yeah. So basically what we're seeing here is we're just below 10, or around 10, 9, 10 on average. And then we are seeing that the center lamps are definitely stronger. The center 2 are coming out over 12 or so. So that's what we have on the UVA-B meter. And then I'm going to go over here to the red lamps. In case you might not know, just this section of these 4 lamps, this is the face section of the lamps. This is 633 nanometer red light only. This is no UVA and B like you have in the blue parts of the lamps. So I'm going to measure that with a red light meter. And we're at about 5 here. High 4s. Almost 5. Yep, on the center of the lamp here. So here we're we're over 6. 6.5. Whoop, approaching 7. Yeah, about 7 here. So, yeah, 6.5 to 7 on these middle ones, and then here we're back to about 4, 5. Okay, so yeah, about 4 or 5, 4 to 5 peak on the outer ones, and then we got about 6.5 to 7 in the middle ones. Good, so that's our baseline. So then what I'm going to do now, I'm going to turn the unit off, and I'm going to unplug it, and we're going to start with the mods. So on the unit here, when we go to dismantle it, on the side sections here and here are the spots that we have for our wires and our ballast electrical components, and like the timer, like right here. So we can pull off the timer knob, and then that gives us access to these. There's a couple of screws here. These actually hold the timer in place, but it also kind of holds the side panel in place here. So before I get these sections on the sides open to access the electronics, I'm just going to remove the lamps. Just give it a 1/4 turn, and then just pull it straight out of the socket. So I'm going to get these lamps out of here and set them aside. So now that we got the lamps removed, I'm just going to take the unit and I'm going to flip it over. careful of the timer knob. And you can see there's 6 spots where there's Velcro. And this is covering some screws that we need to remove before we go to the next step. There are screws up here, these 2 that are exposed, but these are actually for the hanging handles to go over the top of the door. So I'm just going to leave that. But again, these are covered up with this Velcro. Just going to peel it away. There's one of the screws. There's another one. They do this so that way it doesn't scratch up your door or your wall that you have the bed mounted to. So there's this here. There we go. Okay, so the Velcro has been removed. And then I'm going to just take and remove these 3 screws. These are the 3 on this side and then 3 on the other side. Okay, so with those screws removed now, the side caps can come out. So we're going to flip it over and get these side caps out. Before we do that, I need to take and remove these screws that hold the lamp holder plates in. These screws are the machine screws that are blunt tip. The last 6 screws that I removed are number 8. It looks with a pointy tip, a regular type of sheet metal screw. So then I'm going to remove the 2 screws holding in the top lamp holder plate. I'm going to remove the timer knob, and then I'm going to loosen this screw here just a little bit. I'm not going to remove it. That's holding the timer in place, and it also pinches the metal side cap a little bit to hold it in place there, so that's why we're loosening that one just a little bit. Now what's important is when you go to pull the side cap out, you do not want to deform the sheet metal by prying excessively. It needs to remain flat so the side caps click back into place. So what's going to help is you come over to the lamp holder plate and push it into the channel on the opposite side to give you a little bit more room for the side cap to come out. And we're just going to gently, with a flathead screwdriver, just gently pry a little bit carefully here. And we're at the bottom here. It seems to work better when you pull it out from the bottom and then work your way up to the top. So now I have it free here. And then if you run into this lamp holder here and you can't get it any further, you can just simply take and lift it up a little bit to go up and over it. It's a little tight, but it will fit. Maybe if I come and get some room from the top, move that lamp holder plate. There we go. That's it. And it comes out. Okay. Just be careful with the wires. You can see on this side there is one Workhorse 7. This is a 120 volt Workhorse 7 ballast. That's what they have there. And then now I'm going to do the same thing to pull this side section out. Side cap. Yep. There we go. I pull it away. And then with this extra room I have here, I can just push this lamp holder plate over and then you get this cap the rest of the way out. Okay, so you can see on this side they have 2 more Workhorse 7 full-ham ballasts. Okay, so here is the relay. Right back behind here is the main timer, and that's it. You get the power cord coming in, and that brings power to your timer system. And then when you turn on the timer, it sends the power to the relay closes, and then it sends the power to the ballasts. And the ballasts are what drives the lamps. So that's as simple as this circuit is. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to look at how these lamp holders are wired. Okay, so you can see that the Workhorse 7, this is just one of the 3, but you can see where the red wires are going to the lamp holder sockets. There is 1 red wire per lamp holder socket. That's also how it's wired on this Workhorse 7. There's 1 red wire per lamp holder socket. Okay, now let's go over to the top. And this would explain why we noticed that the center 2 lamps were stronger in output. Here we go. This is the same Workhorse 7 ballast, but you see there's 2 red wires per lamp holder socket. So what I think is going to be the best optimal ballast configuration for this unit would actually be 2 Workhorse 7 ballasts and then 2 Workhorse 8 ballasts. I would use each Workhorse 8 would drive 3 lamps, and each Workhorse 7 would drive 2 lamps, kind of like what you're seeing here. And so basically, by stuffing another ballast in here, we're going to increase the wattage and therefore the UV output of the lamps in this unit. So we're going to do some reconfiguring here in order to do that. I'm going to end up probably, since we have the 2 Workhorse 7s down there already, I'll leave them there. I'll leave them mounted there, driving a total of 4 lamps. And then here, I'm going to remove this ballast, and I'm going to put a Workhorse 8 here, and I'm going to put another Workhorse 8 here. You can see that there are little threaded studs to mount the ballast to. And that's what I'm going to do, a Workhorse 8 here and a Workhorse 8 here, and that's going to be driving 6 lamps. 2 Workhorse 8s driving 6 lamps, 2 Workhorse 7s driving 4 lamps, and that'll be our 10 lamps total. Okay, so this is the bed now after the ballast modification. So what I did is, this is a Workhorse 8, and now that's a Workhorse 8 across from it. So each of those are driving 3 lamps. And then here's the Workhorse 7s, here and here on this side. And the way the Workhorse 7 is wired in, at this end we have the 4 red wires coming out, and there are 2 red wires going per lamp holder. And then I just got these shunts because these lamp holders are non-shunted, and this is an instant start ballast, so we need to have the shunts on each of the lamp holders. So the same thing, this is mirrored on this side. This is a Workhorse 7, and then we have the 2 pairs of red wires. Here's one, and then here's another, and that's the 2 lamps that it's driving. Now, those are the center 4 lamps. So when we come down here, we see that this is the yellow wire from that one Workhorse 7 ballast. And this is going to come all the way up here, and then it connects here. Again, this is the other side of the yellows of these two lamps. So we have it going into one lamp holder, and we got the shunts, and then it jumps over to the other lamp holder from there. And then it's mirrored again on this side. Same thing. These are the two lamps being driven by it, and then this is the one yellow wire that goes back to that one Workhorse 7 over there. So then these Workhorse 8s at the top, they're wired like this. There are 6 red wires coming out of this side here. There's 2 groups of 3. So then the 6 red wires we have, just like the Workhorse 7s, there's 2 red wires per lamp holder, and then the shunts to shunt them out. And then lastly, it's mirrored on this side, of course. You got the shunts, and then 2 red wires per, and then that goes back to this Workhorse 8 ballast. These Workhorse 8s have, same thing, one yellow wire coming out one end, and that yellow wire is going to this first lamp holder socket, and then it jumps to the other 2 from there, from these jumper wires here. And then you got the shunts to shunt out the lamp holders. That is mirrored on this side as well, where we have, this is the yellow wire coming from that Workhorse 8, goes over to the first lamp holder socket here, and then jumps to the next one, and then it jumps to the next one from there, and that completes that circuit. Of course, again, we have the shunts right there. Another thing that I had to do on these ballasts is, of course, tie in the power. So there is the black and white wire coming out of this Workhorse 8, and all I did was I just took the white, I grouped it into this terminal block with all the other neutral wires, and then the black coming out of there, right here, I connected that into this terminal block that has all the hots grouped together. So that's pretty easy right there, because it's kind of a short run just from right here right to the terminal blocks. But on this ballast over here, what I needed to do was, here's the black and the white, I took and I put 2-way terminal blocks on both wires, and then I got it run around, so it's going to go along the top of the unit, and then it's going to come down here, and then those go into the same spot where the other ballasts connect into. The white with the other whites, the neutrals here, and then the black is here with the other hots. So then now the bed is completely wired up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it back together, put the lamps back in there, and then we're going to retest it and then see how that affects the output. Okay, so what I did was I just simply put it all back together now, and got it buttoned up here, and we've been running it for about almost 10 minutes, and we got it nice and warm, so we're going to check the readings to see how they've changed. So right now I'm going to check the amperage back on our line splitter. Alright, so you can see we're just over 7 amps, almost 7 1/4, 7.2. Yep. Yeah, a good solid 7.2 amps. Look at the light meters, and let's see where our UV is at. So again, I'll go by the middle here. On the first lamp, we're getting about 12, 13. Still 12, 13. Okay, about 14 or so here on this second lamp. Alright, so 12. Almost 13. Yeah, 13 or so on this lamp. Okay, now we're getting into the middle part here. That's the first ballast. So this is off of the 2-lamp ballast, so that's why we're getting a little bit more here. We're getting about 15. Same thing here, actually closer to 16. Let me check here again. Yeah, it's about 16. So we're still getting about 16. That actually over about 17 or so. The distance really makes a difference. So then on this one, we're at almost 14, 13.5 to 14. About the same here, 13. And yeah, about 14. Yeah, so we're right around 13, 14 on these outer three lamps, and then we're getting a good close to 16, 17 on the center lamps. So then on the center lamps, of course, we've got these red lamps as well in the face area. So we'll retest those. We're getting about 6 or so on this lamp, maybe close to 6.5. Just over 6. Yeah, close to it. Now we got on the center, we're about 7.5. Same thing on this one, 7.5. And then out here we're back out to just over 6. So yeah, you can see how that affected the performance. Again, these center lamps here are powered a little bit stronger because they're driven off of the Workhorse 7s, and all of these have the 2 red wires per lamp. I'm going to turn it off. All of them have the 2 red wires per lamp, but the Workhorse 8 is driving 3 lamps while the Workhorse 7 is driving 2. Obviously, it would be more ideal if we could just have all Workhorse 7s in this bed, but we would need to fit 5 of those in there, and we really only have enough space for 4 ballasts. So we have increased the power, and we have somewhat evened it out a little bit. So there, now you can see how what we did affected the performance of this unit. So I hope you liked the video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe.